We're gonna ceramic coat this Porsche, but it all starts with a proper wash.
Hi, I'm Ivan.
I'm Nick.
This is DIY Detail. Today, we're not only gonna be washing the body, the wheels, but also the roof, because we are gonna be ceramic coating the roof as well. So we need a deep clean of that fabric top at the same time.
A cloth top convertible, a ceramic coating. You may just be here for the how to wash and decontaminate properly part of the video.
Yeah.
And Ivan, that's the exact place they should be because that's what we're here to show.
Right. Now, the first thing we're gonna attack though is the wheels. And these are your typical German brakes, meaning there is a profusion of brake dust. Normally we would start with all clean, but because of this, let's say, hyperactive brake dust here, we're gonna be adding a bit of iron remover first. Especially inside the barrels, because that's where it's worse. And within a couple seconds or so, the wheel should be turning red.
Folks may wonder, do I use all clean on my wheels first? Do I use iron remover on my wheels first? There's so many products on the market, right? They're here for a real basic demo of how to do this right.
Yep.
Could they do iron remover first on every wheel?
No, normally you wouldn't, but these, we can tell they need it, and you can see just how red it is here. In that case, yes, we do need iron remover first, and it's an experience thing. If you're in doubt, use iron remover, but normally you don't need to use it. These wheels haven't been washed in a long time, unfortunately. Now with the all clean on there, it's gonna start doing its thing. And Nick, if you want to start doing the chemical on the paint.
At DIY Detail, we teach the foam rinse foam method or the chemical rinse chemical method, not only for your wheels, Ivan, but for your paint as well.
Yeah.
So I'm laying down the rinseless wash on the surface. It's gonna start to break down and emulsify what's on there. We're not hitting it right with the hose because that would be like, Ivan, potentially all those little small pieces of dirt, if we looked at it under a microscope, it could be like jagged boulders, right? And they could be driving right into the paint. So this rinseless wash, this solution is gonna help lift everything off so that we get it off the paint safely without introducing any damage.
Exactly.
Tell me about this cloth top. Do I wanna get that with rinseless as well?
Yes, you wanna get it nice and soaked with the rinseless.
Do I wanna get you with rinseless?
No, preferably not.
Preferably not, all right. You like rinseless wash. I know waterless wash is a different thing, right?
Yes.
We call that a precision wash, but rinseless feels very precise to me as well.
It is, and the difference just quickly between a rinseless and a waterless wash, think of it as I'm using a dry wash media to clean. So a dry microfiber towel. Whereas a rinseless, we are rinsing, and we call it rinseless, not rinseless. So there is a separation between the two words. We still will be rinsing the vehicle. But the reason for this, we're putting it on there, it's emulsifying the dirt, it's breaking it down. And once it's broken down, when we take the hose to it, we will have a very clean vehicle.
Now, Ivan can lay on the rinseless very efficiently. I apologize for interrupting. But there was a camera there, and I've got this keg that I don't want to tip over. So I know Ivan's like, man, I would have been done 10 minutes ago. Just so you know, I realize it wasn't the most meticulous way, but you were talking about the process. I just want to let the folks know.
Yeah.
I've done this before. It may not look like it.
With the rinseless wash, we want to get it all on the surface, and then we're using a wet wash media. Now, this vehicle had a bit of dirt on it. We could actually go and start with a sponge, but since we have to rinse the wheels anyways, we're gonna be using the pressure washer. Now, you can use a garden hose for this. You don't need a pressure washer, but we can see just what's coming off these wheels, and just what we've done there, they should end up being relatively clean. Now, on the roof of the vehicle, we don't want to be using the pressure washer close in. And I'm using a 25-degree tip here. I just happen to have an interchangeable tip on this. So I'm gonna go to a 65-degree tip for the soft top. That way, a lot less pressure, but a lot more volume. It's the volume of water that we want. We want to flood the top.
How can I mess up a cloth top, I guess is my question for folks out there. Maybe they've been washing a certain type of way their whole lives, like the world hasn't, stopped turning. Like, what could I get wrong here?
Using the pressure washer too close. You can actually cut the fabric.
You can cut the fabric, okay. Now, without touching these wheels yet, Ivan,
Yeah,
I think they're gonna clean up real nicely.
yeah, they will. If you have a new to you convertible top, first thing you want to do is see if it's soap infested. Someone that takes it through a car wash or hand washes and doesn't rinse properly can have soap remaining on here. So I have my wheel and body brush, and with the wheel and body brush, what I've done, I've rinsed it out. Thankfully, this roof is not soap encrusted. If it had a lot of soap residue in it, what would happen is I'd get bubbles or foaming here with the water on the surface. I'm not getting that, so we're good to go. We don't need to rinse and rinse again. If you do get foaming when you do this, you'll need to rinse and keep doing that until you don't get foaming anymore. That's the only way we're gonna get the ceramic to really bond to the top. Now it's not foaming, I know that I'll be able to get the ceramic to bond there properly. Next, we apply the rinseless wash again, making sure to get everywhere, including the wheels.
So what's your strategy for efficient dispersion of the rinseless wash? Because you could just take a 16-ounce spray bottle and dunk it in your bucket, but to me, that just takes forever, right? Then you're spraying all over the car.
Yeah, and you can do that, that's not a problem. We haven't had this tool, so we'll use it. But there are other ways of doing this, like Nick said, there are little battery-operated sprayers. There's all sorts of things you can use. Just a little garden pump sprayer does a good job as well.
So just for efficiency and time's sake, you've now rinsed and reapplied the rinseless, so I'm gonna go ahead and wash right behind you.
Yeah.
We don't wanna waste any time on this channel, Ivan. If people wanna see an efficient wash method, let's do it.
Yeah.
Seems like vehicles are getting bigger and bigger, so a smaller ride is kind of fun to watch for us.
It is.
Had plenty of trucks and large SUVs in my day, so. Something manageable is nice.
Yep.
But, use a system that works for you, that's fun, that you think you'll want to do a lot, because that's the system that you'll actually use, right, Ivan? Like, you gotta make this something that people are gonna want to do, or it gets too intimidating.
Yeah, ultimately, you want to enjoy what you're doing. And if you're not enjoying it, find a way to enjoy it.
So this is one of those cases, Ivan, where what's emulsified is real dirty on these lowers.
Yep.
So because I used one side of the sponge already, but I'd used the other side on the window, I'm gonna show you. If it still looks a little dirty down here, I'm actually going to use another clean side of my sponge, and I basically work the panel until what was dirty before now comes up clear. And that way I know the rinseless wash has gotten all that stuff. All we do is dip it right there in the bucket. Now I have a clean wash sponge ready for the next panel.
Now on the roof, we want to flood with the rinseless wash. This is the one place where we don't go with our sponge on the verge of dripping. I want my rinseless wash sponge at this point to be wet.
We talk about rinseless wash as if people know this super well. It's a dilutable, highly concentrated product. So what's in our wash bucket, what's in the keg sprayer? What should folks know about rinseless wash?
Right, so a rinse less wash, again, means you're rinsing less, but we are rinsing at some points, like we just did, and it is a highly concentrated, the dilution ratio is 256 to 1, or 4 milliliters to a liter, or half an ounce to a gallon. And it's very simple, very easy to use, and you can see where you've been as well. So on this door, I'll purposely leave an area undone. You can see exactly where I haven't touched. You can see the color difference, it's amazing. So, this vehicle had a lot of traffic film on it. The first application rinse got us the grit off the surface. Now we're getting that nasty traffic film off. And you see what's on my sponge. Put it in my wash bucket, lift it up, squeeze, my sponge is clean again. I don't need to go down to the grit guard. I don't need anything like that.
Ivan, what I love about this wash that we're doing, so many folks think, if I'm gonna deeply clean my vehicle, I need incredible suds. I need the foam cannon. I need to be getting into all the nooks and crannies and letting it dwell because I'm gonna be polishing and coating this, and surely a rinseless wash can't be a deep enough clean.
The rinseless wash can clean anything that a soap can clean. It's all down to technique more than product.
You're a fan of soft tops, Ivan.
Yes, I am.
Anything else folks should know about cleaning them?
Do it often.
Really?
Yeah, and also you want to put a ceramic coating on them. The reason for the coating is twofold. First of all, it's going to protect against UV, but secondly, what the coating does is quite incredible. On a light mist, so just a bit of rain, it will actually bead the water. But when there's enough water to actually flush out the fabric, it will absorb the water like it's doing now. So you want it to be absorbent when you have a lot of water, but not absorbent when you just have a mist. Because that mist, all it does is drive the dirt deeper in, creating a mud. Then that creates a problem because those little rocks in there with the fibers eventually cut the fibers. While the rinseless is on the surface, we're gonna clean the wheels. Remember, we sprayed the rinseless on there. No, we're not seeing any suds or anything. The wheels still need to be cleaned. Using our wheel and body brush, I like to start at midnight and work my way around in a clockwise motion. You can go counterclockwise if you want. You can start at the valve stem. As long as you have a system, follow that system. These wheels were victim of brake dust, but also victims of overabuse of tire dressing. There's a film of tire dressing over the face of the wheel as well. Speaking of face of the wheel, I start cleaning with the face and I finish with the barrel. The reason for that is if you start with the barrel, you're taking some of that grit that can be in the barrel and bringing it out to the surface. When you do that, that causes a problem. Because if that grit is there, then you wash the face, you're scrubbing that grit into the face. Now for the barrel brush, I like to start at the top, do one section at a time, working my way down so it's rinsing ahead and making sure that it's clean as I'm going.
Ivan, I noticed bits of tar stuck to the wheel. Yeah, what does one do in a case like that?
You can use our tree sap remover to work those loose, ideally, or let the heat of the wheel eventually wear them off, or if you can pluck them off, go ahead.
Would you recommend maybe putting a little tree sap remover on a towel and just kind of working it in and seeing what happens?
Yeah.
Okay.
This one wheel has an overabuse of tire dressing, like I mentioned, and that tire dressing is sticking on and staining this wheel. And it needs more active surfactants. I'm gonna be adding a little more all clean to the surface. I'm gonna let it dwell for a moment and then go back in and brush that because I've done all that I can with the rinseless wash. Rinseless wash normally for a well-maintained wheel is all you need. But in this case, we needed more. You saw these wheels in the beginning, just how bad they were. The iron remover did its job. The all clean did its job as well. But there are areas that are just nasty and they need more help. And we can see that here. Now it's starting to work through that. See how it's breaking that down and carrying it off the wheel. So we'll let that dwell for a moment and go from there. While that's dwelling, I'm gonna start decontaminating the paint. Since I have the iron remover in my hand, sprayed a little more on that wheel. Now, I'm gonna start decontaminating the body 1 spray of iron remover on my perforated synthetic decontamination towel, 1 on the body of the vehicle, match them up, and now I'm lifting the contamination away, and you can see I've got a lot of pressure on my towel. In other words, none at all. You don't need any pressure. Let the towel and the chemical do the work for you. You keep going till you don't hear or feel the contamination anymore. At that point, carry on to the next panel. When you're getting to the next panel, flip your towel, 1 spray on the towel, 1 spray on the panel. Don't forget to do the windshield. Remember that spot I told you I missed on the door? Well, I purposely left it a little longer, and before doing this, I need to remove that. But you see here, you can see where I washed with the rest, but that one little line that I missed is still there, and you can tell that it's there. So if you miss an area, it's very visible, very easy to see.
Why is our decontamination towel soaking in our bucket of rinseless wash?
We want the lubrication. And we want to keep it clean too. Flip to a new side. 1 spray on the panel, 1 on the towel, and I carry on.
Yeah, I love how the diamond weave, the red part of this decon towel, has so much of that rinseless wash solution kind of in there.
Yep.
So that if you accidentally press a little too hard on your towel, you don't follow Ivan's no pressure method, it'll actually squeeze more rinseless out on the surface, adding lubrication, building in that redundancy of safety and effectiveness, Ivan.
100%.
Do you ever risk it for the biscuit and use the same side of the towel on multiple panels in a row?
No. Why would you want to do that?
Right. So we flip every time we're done with the panel, half of the windshield, half of the hood, boom, 2 fresh sides.
And then after you've done your 4 sides, flip it, put it in your wash bucket, bring it back out.
And that's sufficient to kind of re-clean it?
Yep.
Are you a fan of decontaminating glass, Ivan?
Yes, I am.
Why is that?
Makes it easier to clean. Your glass gets just as contaminated as your paint does. Now, one big advantage of this towel is if you happen to apply pressure, you can see all the liquid that's coming out of it, giving you more lubrication. But the goal is to apply no pressure.
I see a lot of folks online, well, not a lot, but I've definitely seen this move, Ivan. Oh, time to clear the paint.
Yeah, no, don't do that. It's not a good idea.
We've built in the system that, again, mitigates against the risk of improper pressure with the fingers, right?
Yep.
How do folks know they're doing it right? This may be so foreign to them with the decontamination step.
It's a thing of feeling, and you will feel the contamination on the surface. And once you don't have any contamination on the surface, you'll feel it as well. You'll get a sound, so an auditory sense that it's done, but you'll also get the sense from your hands that, oh, there's nothing scratching anymore.
If they're concerned that their rinseless wash has dried up on the surface, should they just spray more iron remover on there to add the lubrication?
No, add a little more rinseless.
Okay, so you can take your legacy sponge, drip it on the panel, get it wet again, and then use your iron remover method with the towel. Why isn't iron remover sufficient on its own without the mechanical decontamination to really get our paint clean, Ivan?
It is sufficient, but why risk it? Back to this wheel, remember I sprayed iron remover on it, and you see there's no red streaking. So that means the iron remover first time around did its job. But I still have this nasty tire dressing on here that just doesn't want to let go. And unfortunately, it may have actually stained the wheel. Hopefully with a bit of agitation. Always use the least aggressive method first, which is what we're doing, and then we escalate from there if necessary. I'm using a little lug nut brush to try to get this off, and I'm holding it the bristles so I get a little more friction from the bristles. And unfortunately, nothing. After the brushes, the next point of escalation is a microfiber towel. You're saying, what? A microfiber towel? Yes, microfiber is actually more aggressive than the brush is. And let's see the microfiber towel. I have it dampened in the rinseless wash. Yeah, so the microfiber towel is getting this off. People think that a brush is a very aggressive tool. In reality, a microfiber towel is a lot more aggressive than our brushes will ever be. So don't be afraid of a brush. We can see just how much dirt the microfiber picked up off the wheel, that unfortunately the brush didn't. Again, our brush is milder than a microfiber towel. While I was cleaning that wheel, some of the iron remover dried on the surface. I'm not concerned, it's not an issue. Our iron remover can dry on the surface and not cause any problems. Next step is water spot remover. Now, we get a question a lot, what's hydrophilic, what's hydrophobic? When the water is just sitting on the surface like this is hydrophilic. Now, this one is slightly hydrophobic. We see the water starting to gather up and start to dry the surface. If it were hydrophilic, the water would just be sitting there, not moving at all. So this has a slight hydrophobicity to it, but not a lot. Again, if the water were just sitting there and not gathering up and eventually working its way off the panel, that is called hydrophilic. So people would say, I want a sheeting product. Well, a sheeting product is hydrophobic. This is slowly hydrophobic, but it is hydrophobic. Now, to help increase the hydrophobics, we have one more decontamination step to do, and that is water spot remover. What water spot remover does for us is help to remove any minerals that are on the surface. We spray it on. We're going to let it dwell. Now, I'm not putting this on the convertible top because it is slightly acidic. We don't want that on the fabric.
I mean, water spot remover does so many things. It's a great way to decontaminate paint before you're polishing. It's a great maintenance step to rejuvenate the beading on maybe your coated or protected paint. You know, it's also something so fascinating that, like, it also helps if it's just a maintenance wash in your drying process. Can you talk about the multiple benefits of water spot remover?
Well, it's not a drying aid, so you're not using it with your drying towel, just to confirm there.
Yep.
But since it helps restore hydrophobics by removing the minerals on the surface, you're gonna have less water sitting on the surface, making drying simpler.
Another thing that it is not a clay lube.
No.
Folks, and it is not something that you want to put in a bucket and then put your legacy sponge in there. So
Exactly.
water spot remover has a lot of roles, but it doesn't work in every situation. It's not meant to.
No.
Some folks may want to add water spot remover to their incredible suds and, you know, get a decon shampoo. They want to play armchair chemist, Ivan.
Right. And decon shampoos, while the idea is good, they never work as well as doing this. Speaking of those maintenance shampoos, in theory, the idea is very good, but in practice, it's not. The water spot remover needs to be the last thing that you use. And the reason we want it to be the last is we want that iron contamination out of the way. We want the traffic film out of the way. We want everything out of the way. So now the only thing we're dealing with is the minerals that are bonded to the paint. If the shampoo has to work through all those other things, it's never gonna get to the minerals.
Now what I'm doing, as Ivan is explaining that, I'm actually agitating the water spot remover in. And you might think, I just need to spray it on and rinse it off, right? That's gonna do all that is necessary. But Ivan, the agitation is an important step, especially if this is before polishing and coating.
100%. Now, you can just spray it and rinse it, but it's never gonna be as effective. Our towel that we're using is dampened in the rinseless wash, and we're not flipping the towel as we go. We don't want the towel to absorb the water spot remover. We want it to spread the water spot remover.
So this step is gonna remove all water spots, guaranteed?
No, it's gonna remove the minerals that cause the water spots. Visible water spots, if they've been left long enough, can actually be etched into the paint. And if they're etched, then no amount of water spot remover is going to remove an etching in the paint.
Am I using water spot remover on the black plastics as well?
Yep.
So all exterior surfaces?
Except for the cloth top.
Except the cloth top. You know, folks may never have used water spot remover before. It's an excellent product. To me, it's like absolutely necessary before polishing and coating. And I love using it for kind of a quarterly maintenance wash as well.
Yes.
How does it restore beading on a coated car, for example?
By removing the minerals on the surface that are cloaking it and preventing the water from actually reaching the paint.
You may notice Ivan's not flipping his towel like we are so trained to do as detailers. That's because we're just working the water spot remover in.
Yeah.
We've chemicaled, we've rinsed, we've chemicaled, we've deconned, we've rinsed, and we washed in there. There's so many steps of redundancy built into the safety of this that by the time we're done with those steps, Ivan, there's no danger of, oh, I'm gonna get some dirt over here and then rub it into the paint over here. So we can just use the one side with the water spot remover on it to just color all the line, color in between all the lines.
Yep.
Just getting it on there, no pressure, right? Obviously that's
Yeah,
one of your mantras.
No pressure at all. So now we're ready for the final rinse. Yes, I'm not gonna put this back into my bucket of rinseless wash because it's slightly acidic at this point. I need to rinse it out with fresh water and then treat it separately.
One thing that we haven't done is Ivan goes to put his mineral cleanse towel in a specific bucket. We haven't sprayed water spot remover on the wheels.
No, and we can, but with all the agitation we've done on these wheels, it's not really necessary. People mistakenly think that our water spot remover has something in it that causes beading. There's absolutely nothing in it that causes beading. It restores beading. And fresh paint, even though it doesn't have a coating on it, doesn't have a wax, will bead when it's clean.
Yeah, because this is pretty hydrophobic now.
Yeah, but clean paint is hydrophobic naturally. People put waxes, they put coatings to get that hydrophobics. All you really need is clean paint. The other things are for protection. Now I'm gonna rinse the top one last time. So switch my angle to 65 degrees to make sure I have no pressure whatsoever. And the goal, once again, is to flood the top. We want to carry away any potential dirt, and in this case, the remaining rinseless wash that was in there. After that, we can put the pressure washer away and start drying.
The drying blanket is an excellent choice for anyone who's curious what's the right drying towel for my vehicle. Now, we sometimes use a drying aid when we are drying the vehicle. In fact, we always use some kind of drying lubricant, except when the goal is to polish a ceramic coat after. At this point, we're just using proper technique, so not a ton of pressure, no pressure. And there's many different ways you can dry a vehicle, but just think about not putting any pressure. You can build redundancy in with folding your towel if you're worried about inducing any potential marring. You know, the drying process is a little dangerous. It's where a lot of scratching can happen, but we've done such a good job of cleaning the paint. A high quality microfiber towel like this, and actually once the drying blanket gets a little bit wet, it actually picks up the water better, which I love. So in terms of the drying process here, we're just focusing on getting the paint reasonably dry. We are gonna be polishing afterwards, Ivan, so if something were to happen, our polisher will take care of it.
Yes, and we know that the surface is extremely clean because we've washed it, we've decontaminated, we've rinsed, we've done it again and again and again.
We've done it all, man. This is a very thorough wash. Is this the kind of wash that you'd recommend to someone every Sunday to do?
No, not at all. This is once a year.
So it could take a lot less time and less steps than this just to wash a vehicle that perhaps you've coated.
Yes.
It can be fun to do all the steps, but I prefer fewer steps. I prefer doing it right the first time, polishing, ceramic coating, and then keeping up on it with proper maintenance is gonna make those routine washes a lot less laborious.
Yes.
Okay, so drying on a horizontal panel is one thing, Ivan, but what about the vertical panel? Give us some tips.
You want to hold on to your towel so there's no way it can reach the floor, even if you let go of it. That way you're staying safe. And just anchor it. So you can use one hand to anchor it on the body, the other hand to to maneuver it, or like I do, hold it in one hand and use part of the towel, and as I'm going along, I rotate the towel to a fresh part.
What's your best tip for folks who might see kind of that hazy white residue around emblems and logos? Now is probably not the time to address it, but let's say, you know, you're in the polishing process or you're in the wash process. How do I address it then?
A gentle brush and the lubricant of your choice, be it Incredible Suds or rinseless wash.
And if for some reason they're struggling with it, would it be like emblem removal and because I've seen the worst white residue around emblems that you can't figure out where it came from, how it got there, and there's such tight, intricate areas that, you know, it's really hard to get to.
A little brush and all clean will do the job.
Perfect.
Last part to dry is the top. Just gonna lay the drying blanket on top here. And it is a rather small top. We basically cover the whole top with 2 drying blankets.
Yep.
Pat it in to absorb. And the top isn't dry, it looks dry, but it still has some residual moisture. What we're gonna be doing is actually putting this car outside for a couple hours. It's a beautiful sunny day out there. It's gonna be in direct sunlight. We're gonna dry the top, then we're gonna make sure that it's dry before we put the ceramic coating on.
Okay, we have more to do with this vehicle, but for now, this very thorough wash video appears to be coming to an end. Ivan, we don't want the journey for them to end. We want to continue the education and the fun.
Yes, there's a video right here you might want to watch.